In this video, I will be showing you how I converted my 3D printer into a plotter. The first thing to do was going to be figuring out how to stop the printer from extruding plastic. I went into Bamboo Studio and created a new material, named it Pen and based it on PLA Basic. I then modified the parameters. I lowered the flow rate to 0 in order to stop the printer from extruding, and lowered the fan speed to 0. I also lowered the temperatures to avoid the printer burning the materials. I also enabled Z-Hop and set it to 5mm, which is the limit that the slicer let me put in. I did this because normally when a printer stops printing, it moves the head to the next place it's going to work on, without raising it. But Z-Hop makes the print head first move up before moving. This will hopefully stop it from dragging the pen from place to place while working on different areas. I then started to work on creating the first thing the printer would plot. I decided to make a simple square 1 cm squared in size and added a pillar so that it can get offset from the plate. This space will be used because the pen will be lower than the nozzle. I wanted to check that everything was working right before proceeding with designing the mechanism that will hold the marker, so I sent the G-code to the printer, and it started working. Sadly, it didn't get very far. The printer wasn't happy about it not having any plastic, so I had to insert some PLA Basic. Before sending the print, I changed the nozzle temperature to the minimum recommended, so that if the printer uses the plastic for some reason, it won't get clogged. After sending the G-code again, it went through it without any hiccups. So I started designing the clips, and after modeling them, I printed 4 out. I then proceeded to make a mounting mechanism for the pen. So I took down some measurements and modeled out a bracket. I will be attaching it to the tool head by wrapping the adapter around the cutting mechanism. After printing it and placing it in place, I noticed that it wasn't very tight. This would probably cause some problems, so I modified it to be more tightly pressed against the tool head. Since everything was now ready, I started the print again, and after the printer finished calibrating, I paused it and placed the paper and pen in their respective places, and then continued it. And this time it worked, kind of. There is a line going in between the entire page, so I had to change the plan a bit. Luckily, I realized that when printing in by object, the slicer doesn't generate that path, so I added a tower that will be used to stop the slicer from generating the path, and will also give me more time to pause the printer to insert the paper and the pen. And after sending the G-code again, it went much better. Since it worked so well, I decided to plot something a bit harder. I modeled a bit of text that says "Hello World", added the offset tower and sent it to the printer. It's almost perfect. The only problem is that the plotter didn't place it in the correct place. This is because I forgot that the pen is offset from the nozzle. So I need to offset the text in the slicer in order to combat this. Because of how successful it was, I decided to perform a small experiment. I wanted to see if it is possible to move the pen head slightly up to produce lighter shades of green. I created a model and sent it to the printer, and it didn't work. It looks like since the paper is not perfectly flat, when the pen moves up, the plotter becomes very inconsistent, so I decided to move on from that for now. And instead I made a simpler test. I created this sketch of 3 gears. It will let me test how the plotter performs while making sharp angles, long lines in both X and Y, as well as how it evenly fills in the gears. Before sending it, I also changed the extruder height to 0.1 instead of 0.2mm. And since the gear model is 0.2mm thick, it will cause the plotter to go over it twice. I'm hoping this will make it fill in more evenly. After sending it to the plotter, it started to do very well, but as soon as it started to fill in, I realized that the plotter didn't fill it in evenly. I think this is caused by the pen running out of ink, and so it became light enough that whenever the paper moved up slightly, the pen would also go up and wouldn't fall back down. I also realized that by running through it twice, it caused the gear to become fuzzy, and the teeth weren't sharp. Because of this, I decided to switch back to making a single pass. And finally, I sent the printer the G-code again, and this time it worked really well. It is very evenly filled in and the gears look very sharp. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching and see you next time.